Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of FanFic Breakdown. I'm your host, Smash King 24.
And I'm legit ElizabethWWEFan.
And we're here to bring you all the news and reviews on the latest and hottest Super Smash Bros. Fan fictions coming into your archive. This week, we've got another story for you. This is How the Mask Breaks by BladeWielder05. And it was actually an assignment he had made for his school, but kind of converted it into a Super Smash Bros. Fan fiction, and I think it turned out pretty well. So
that's not creative, I don't know what is.
Yeah. So just like before, we're going to go over the plot, the character setting, and the theme. Let's go right into it.
Yeah.
So for the plot, we have our characters. Nadir, who is also known as Dark Pit, Lucina, Marth, and Rose Claire, also known as Robin, are cleaning out Pit's closet one day when they discover his secret journal. Although he has long since passed away, his last words live on as the group tries to decipher just what was going on in Pit's head on the day that he died.
It's definitely something that's not lighthearted.
No. So this is kind of a suicide story, if you will. It's a little bit sad. It starts off strong, gets kind of sad. When we got these four friends, Dark Pit, Lucina, Marth, and Rose Claire, or Robin.
AKA Female Robin.
Female Robin. And they're cleaning out Pit's closet because he recently just passed away and they have no idea why. They just saw he was in a car accident with someone. They suspected it was a drunk driver or whatever. He's dead. Dark Pit's sad, but it's Dark Pit, so he's not really showing any emotion anyway, because that's how Dark Pit is.
I'm fine, guys. I'm not crying. Someone's cutting onion. Who the hell's doing that?
Yeah,
That's him.
He's Dark Pit. He's the same Dark Pit everybody knows and loves. And they're cleaning out his closet, and they find that Pit had left behind a secret journal, or a diary, or whatever you call it. I don't know. Diary, journal, same thing, I guess.
Yeah, same shit.
Same shit. And since he's dead, they get kind of curious, and then they start to peruse his recent entries, but they kind of start farther back, like about a year prior, I think, because this story takes place when they're in high school, and they're looking through and just trying to figure out what it was exactly that made Pit do the deed onto himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because as we're going through the journal and learning about what happened in the past, we find that Marth and Robin are in a relationship, as well as Lucina and Dark Pit in a relationship, but they were both set up by Pit. Because according to the journal, Pit claims to be this amazing matchmaker angel boy. I don't even know if he's an angel in this story, but...
Probably not. Isn't it like a modern...
It's like an AU post-high school. I mean, okay, well, that's the setting. We'll get into the setting. But, yeah, so he sets them up, and then that's basically how they start. So then they start to wonder, why would he do this? Because he's such, like, a happy guy all the time. We're gonna, like, go right into the characters while we're talking about them anyways. So Pit, like, he's super happy. It's not like he's super happy. He's kind of happy-go-lucky. And he wants the best for everybody, which, that's great. Like, what a great guy. He wants the best for everyone. He thinks... there's someone out there for everyone, and I'm gonna make it happen with my brother Dark Pit, or Nadir, and my best friend Robin, or Rose Claire.
Yeah, and while that's such a good mindset to have, he just kind of, I think, takes it too far, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And that ends up hurting him more than helping him.
Yep, because what ends up happening is he finds the perfect match for Dark Pit, who is Lucina, and Dark Pit's like, you're such a moron, like, why would you do this to me? And then eventually it's like, oh yeah, no, we're in love now, so thanks, Pit. And then Pit's all like, yes, good job. And now he's like, I'm gonna do the same to Robin. And so he goes and ends up finding out that Robin and Marth knew each other from like middle school or preschool or something, I don't know, but since they were young. And then he gets them together, and then Robin's like, "Oh yeah, thank you so much. You how did you know that he was the perfect one for me?" Honestly, I don't understand how the whole matchmaking thing works. It's like, but it's
kind of weird.
It sounds kind of weird now that I think about it. But
although to be fair, it's way less creepier than Tinder.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, well, at least everybody knows each other in this story.
Yeah.
And Pitt has his reasons for matching them up. It says like Robin was really just looking for someone and she was worried about being lonely, so he's like, Marth's a good guy, like he's so good at all these things and you both know each other, so it's like, why not? And then it ends up being great for her and she's so happy and she's so thankful for everything that Pitt did for her.
Mm-hmm.
So as we said before, Dark Pitt is kind of just the opposite of Pitt, where he's the reluctant one in the family, always trying to just be. I don't want to say he's trying to be edgy all the time because that's kind of overused, but that
Yeah.
is pretty much his personality. I'm surprised he
Yeah.
actually ended up giving into Lucina and
Yeah.
getting together with her.
Doppelgangers usually are the opposite. That's how doppelgangers work.
Yeah. As for Lucina, there's not much really to say about her because she doesn't play too much of a big role in this story other than being someone that gets together with Dark Pit. And the same can be kind of said for Marth. The main characters that really stand out are Dark Pit, Robin, and Pit.
Well, yeah.
And we find this out further later on when, as we're reading through the entries in the diary, like most of the story is pretty much retold from the journal. Like it starts off with them in the room and then they're reading all the entries as the dates go by. And we find that Pit becomes exceedingly not guilty,
Depressed.
but depressed. He becomes exceedingly depressed over time as he sees Robin enjoying her time with Marth, and he's not really sure the reason why, because his thought is, I did this great thing for my friends, but why do I feel so like empty on the inside? Like normally he doesn't feel this, but now all of a sudden he is with Robin. And if you haven't guessed it by now, the reason why is because Pitt actually likes her. And he kind of figured that out a little bit too late, though, unfortunately.
A little late. That's a kind way of putting it.
Yeah, so Robin and Martha are together. He's sad about it, and now we're seeing it in the journal where he feels so alone and he just wants to be with her, but he hates seeing her with him, but he doesn't want to intervene because he knows that's not the right thing to do because he wants her to be happy. So it gets all this like this complicated sad stuff, and you really feel for the guy because it's like he gives everything that he wants to make his friends and his brother feel good and to make them happy, and then all of a sudden he has nothing.
And he's suffering because of it.
Yeah. So it kind of the story takes a 180 really quick.
Oh yeah.
Well, not really really quick, but it kind of gradually we get to see what the transition from him being, perfectly normal Pit to sad and depressing Pit. And let me tell you, sad and depressing Pit is actually very tragic to read about because Pit's not normally this kind acting like this.
No, he doesn't really let anything get him down in canon.
No. So we go along, and then we eventually find out that he started drinking alcohol because it was the only thing that was making him feel good. And then they find out that they find this out through the way he writes stuff, and that there's like there's drips of it on the paper like wine or something that they conclude, and then they pretty much confirms that what happened is he was drunk, or he drank himself stupid, and then he just ended up getting hit by a car. So I think the reason why, because he was driving drunk. I'm not. I think that was the reason why. In either case, yeah, he pretty much got driven to alcoholism and then losing his life, which is very sad. So
it is.
So that's pretty much what happens by the end of it, and then concluding the story, the friends are all pretty much stricken by this.
Dark Pit pretty much loses it. Like his tough facade pretty much goes away, and he just cracks.
Yeah, pretty much. And so they come to the realization that he did all this stuff for them just to give his own life in the end, which leaves the story ending pretty tragically, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, but overall, it was really well written in terms of the actual emotions being portrayed and the characters. You could really feel like for what was going on in the situation, and it was kind of a surprise, honestly, because you didn't really know what was happening. You knew he died, but you didn't really know the reason why. I honestly didn't even guess. Like I didn't guess until it got to the point when what he was writing, that the reason why he was depressed was because of his love for Robin. And then I read that and I thought, yeah, I read that and I'm like, oh no, man, no.
No.
Yeah. So, like we said before, the setting of the story takes place in, well, it's inside of Pit and Dark Pit's house, and we believe it's it's like an alternate universe post high school setting because they talk about high school and that's where they kind of knew each other from.
Yeah.
And then as for the theme, we have for the theme for this story is to be honest with yourself and to your friends, because Pit's downfall was the fact that he didn't tell anybody about it. He didn't. He kind of just kept it to himself, and even Dark Pit noticed it, but he feels the most guilty because it's like he could have done something, you know, he could have done something to stop it, but he didn't.
A lot of that is guilt, though, talking and grief talking.
Oh yeah. So if Pit wasn't really sure of it either. That's why we're saying be honest with oneself, because at first he just wasn't sure at all. He was just kind of dealing with it and being until he came to the realization, like, oh my God, I'm in love with Robin. He's like, but I can't tell her this, or I can't tell anybody this, because if I do, I'll just ruin her, you know. But then she ends up feeling even more guilty because of it, and all the characters by the end they're saying, you know, it's my fault he's dead, it's my fault, you know. But whose fault is it really? Like, you can't really point a finger at anybody.
You can't really even blame Pit, because, like, I don't know, it's really hard to tell, and you don't want to blame someone when somebody dies.
No.
Unless, of course, somebody's murdered, but that's another story.
Yeah, no. that's another topic for another kind of story.
Yeah, no shit.
So yeah, overall, this story was really nicely written and very cleverly written in terms of the use of the journal entries. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
You kind of got to take a step into the past, you know, and see it all unfold like in real time. That was kind of cool. The only real complaint I have about this story is that the author doesn't really specify the reason why Lucina and Dark Pit are perfect for each other. Like, because he says, like, Pit says this, like, oh, they're perfect for each other, and, like, that happens a couple times where he'll say that, but there's no real reason why they're perfect. There's no, like, she, like, is his better half, or she completes him, or she, like, she's interested in things that he's not interested in doing, so she'll let him do it. Like, there's nothing. Like, that's all he says. It's kind of really generic. So I kind of wish he expanded a bit more on that.
Yeah, even if it was like a bullshit reason, I still would have taken it, and I would have been somewhat cool with it.
Yeah, anything, honestly. It's not much, but it's still something. And and by the end of it, you're going to be experiencing a lot of feels in this story, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I was actually kind of sad by the end of it too. Yeah, like if you're a guy or if you're a person who kind of has gone through a similar experience. I'm not saying you have a friend that killed himself or something, but I'm saying, like, if you're a person that's just, you know, keeping things locked away, or know a friend who's kind of keeping secrets, you know, I hope that this story would kind of be a reminder to let you know that sometimes it's not good to keep things bottled up inside.
Absolutely.
Because it ends up building up to the point where you have to release it at some point, and when it does come out, it's gonna explode into something that you might not want, and in this case it was Pit taking his own life. So so look at the moral and take it for what it is, and you will live as a happy reader.
Yes, exactly.
That makes any sense. So so any final thoughts on the story?
I thought it was very well done. Even though it was extremely depressing, it was still very well written, and I just think it couldn't have been better. Like, it couldn't have been better written if I wanted it to. So yeah, I really, really liked it, even if it made me really sad.
I'm interested in the reason why he chose such like Nadir as a name for Dark Pit. I don't know. That's a very strange name. I don't think I've ever heard that name before. But
yeah, no, I've never heard that name before either.
Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. That was How the Mask Breaks by Blade Wielder 05. You can check out the story. We'll put a link in the description. If you're interested in the series, feel free to send us another suggestion on a story that you'd like us to review, or drop a comment and let us know what you thought of this video, or just the series in general.
Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to check us out on fanfiction.net, our personal websites, and hell, even Twitter, if you're into that kind of shit.
If you're into it, yeah, because we totally are. Well, Ellie is, not me, but I'll pop onto Twitter every now and then. Okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm Smash King 24.
And I'm legit ElizabethWWEFan.
Happy smashing.